Hi, and welcome to a video with me, Kate, from Ask Kate, brought to you by the Children's Tumor Foundation. In this video, I'm going to be responding to some comments and questions that I received on the video we did on plexiform neurofibromas. This is not surprising to me that there were some questions on that, and I got some really great ones, so I wanted to respond to them where we could all hear the answers. The first question I got was from Jamie, and she sent me an email asking me about her son, who's 5 years old. He has NF1 and has been largely healthy, but she did notice after listening to my video that he has a spot on his lower back that is darker and has some hair on it, and that she was concerned about it. She also explained that when he falls on his bottom or she sets him down on the counter after picking him up, if she sets him down too roughly, he seems to experience a lot of pain and express that through crying or getting upset. And so she was worried that maybe there was something she needed to be concerned about. So what I told Jamie is that I agree that this is something to talk to the doctors about. Her son already had appointments scheduled coming up with a medical geneticist as well as a neurologist, and so I encouraged her to share the concerns in those appointments. I also told her it would not be unreasonable to ask whether an MRI of that area to take a closer look was warranted. Now, of course, there are always risks with MRI, especially in young children who need to be sedated, and so I explained to her that it would just be important to discuss that with her medical team and to make sure that she felt her concerns were heard, and then to come up with the best plan in terms of how to move forward. But again, I always encourage parents, if you have a concern, it is important to talk to the doctor about it, because even if it's not something to be worried about, the best way to find that out is to talk to your doctor. So the next comments that I received were on the video themselves, actually. So Roger C. Very graciously shared the story with us of his daughter who developed an MPNST at 23 years old, and then she died 8 months after her 25th birthday. So I want to give my sympathies to Roger and his family. This is exactly why the Children's Tumor Foundation exists. This is our mission, is to see an end to this condition that is ending lives much too soon and causing so much suffering. And I really want to just say thank you to Roger and his family, as he shared that it was the loss of his daughter that motivated him to set up automatic monthly contributions to the Children's Tumor Foundation, which means that he's an important part of the research that we're doing. He and his family are funding important research that we believe is going to see an end to this disease. So thank you, Roger, so much for participating and staying involved in the community. We really appreciate it, and so do all of our NF families and fighters. The next comment I just want to highlight is that Jaden also commented just thanking for the video and saying that a lot of questions have been answered. So thank you, Jaden, for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope that that continues to be what these videos do, which is answer questions that you might have that you don't know where to ask or you haven't gotten satisfactory answers. So thank you for tuning in. The last comment that I want to bring attention to comes from Joanne Harriet. Now, Joanne shared quite a bit of her husband's story with us, which I really appreciate. And I just want to highlight a couple of questions that she asked that I thought the answers to these might be useful to the community as a whole. So the first question is that she asked about lifespan and how NF1 can affect lifespan. Now, across the spectrum of NF1, NF2, and schwannomatosis, the best answer that I can give is that we do expect a shortened lifespan, but it's so variable that there's no way to predict exactly what that looks like. And so unfortunately, there's not a lot of solid information that we can give that would give a more detailed answer. But it is important to know that regular care by a doctor who understands NF can also impact the lifespan of someone living with NF, as they know what to watch for and how to monitor your health. The next question that Joanne brings up for us is talking about pain. So pain in NF is a common topic. In fact, I think we should do a video just on how to manage pain, and that's something that I'm going to make a note of. But I do want to respond just briefly to the fact that one of the really important things that has been evolving in American healthcare over the last, I don't know, probably 20 years, I'm thinking in my lifetime as a nurse, is the idea of pain management. And so while having a great NF doctor is really important, and for some patients, their NF doctor can help manage their pain really effectively, and that's great. But for more often than not, patients find that their NF doctor is just not equipped. Perhaps your main NF doctor is the medical geneticist who isn't going to be as familiar with all the different options for pain treatment. So in that case, we now have doctors who specialize in pain management. And there are teams of people working in medical centers who can work with you both with pharmaceutical and prescription drug pain control, as well as things like resiliency and massage therapy, acupuncture. I mean, there are so many alternative ways to address pain that I couldn't even list them all. I'm sure I don't even know about all of them. And so I want to just take seriously the issue of pain in NF, and I think that it's something that is often overlooked. And so if you are experiencing a lot of chronic and daily pain, I really want to encourage you to reach out to your local medical centers. The larger the center, probably the better your chance of finding a pain team, and ask to be seen. The clinic that I worked in when I was working in Los Angeles, we had an entire clinic dedicated to seeing people with chronic pain, and that could be pain from a cancer diagnosis, from NF, from any number of things. And so I want to encourage you to know that we hear you, we know that pain is a serious issue, and that a pain management team is going to be your best course of action. Now, of course, I understand that that is not going to be an option for everybody depending on where you live. In fact, Joanne shares that it looks like they might be up in Canada, where I'm not as familiar with resources. So I'll be reaching out to her directly, of course, to see how I can help. But I did want to just highlight that pain in NF is a very serious issue, and it's something that we are dedicating research to find better ways of addressing it. Okay, well, that's it for today. Hopefully I've answered a few more questions, and as always, please feel free to leave a comment so we can keep the conversation going.